Your website says the adverse biological effects of EMFs have been known about for nearly 50 years, as confirmed by a Naval Medical Research Institute report dated 1971, listing 2,300 studies. A congressional staff briefing in 2001 revealed that there are adverse biological effects to EMFs at levels 76,000 times lower than the safety standards. Can you tell us more about that?
Isn't that incredible? Yeah. 76. So they pull this meeting together, congressional meeting, 2001, and they explained that there were biological effects at 76,000 times below the standards. And here we are 20 years down the line, just carrying on as if nothing happened. In fact, not even carrying on, it's building. And, that's what we were talking about at the beginning. That was my point with the 5G. You were saying, well, what's the big deal with 5G? Well, the big deal with 5G is we've already got these masses of very compelling evidence here with regard to the dangers of EMFs, and we're just making it all work. We're adding another layer of electrosmog in there, and yeah, it's insane when you look at this. When you look at this independent research, and you kind of think, well, yeah, but they don't tell me this on CNN, or they don't tell me this on Fox or whatever news it is. Well, no, because unfortunately a lot of these companies, they're big conglomerates, and they're all owned by the same people. They're all the same company, so it's they're all hand in hand. Or if they're not owned by the same company, that owns whatever news network and the telecom companies and the pharmaceuticals, then they're so frightened of losing their advertising income from the telecoms companies that they're not reporting this information as it should be reported. So yeah, there is research on these effects. In fact, the research on this goes back to pre-1900s. Nikola Tesla and D'Arsonville, they did some very basic studies on this 1891 on the EMF effects, on how it impacted the human body, because we're electrical beings, we are electromagnetic beings, we are subtle beings of frequency. We're all about frequency, actually. Life is about frequency, and this is what you realize when you start to look into this a little bit. And so the effects of all these frequencies are very profound, and they've been known about for a long time, certainly with regard to this thing we call cell phone radiation, or which I call radio frequency microwave radiation. I know I keep repeating it because I want it to stick in people's minds. And by the way, there is a word in there, microwave, probably noticed. Well, yeah, like your microwave oven, exactly, just like your microwave oven. And by the way, Wi-Fi uses exactly the same frequency, or most Wi-Fi anyway, uses exactly the same frequency as a microwave oven. It's not quite the same waveform, but yeah, look what a microwave oven does to your food. Well, that's what we're talking about. Now, that is a heating effect, and the whole controversy around the EMFs is that, industry and our governments are saying, well, there's no heating effect, therefore we're okay. But that is, we don't need the heating effect. That's what the science is showing. We don't need this heating effect to not be okay. It's these biological effects. It's what's going on at this biological, subtle level, how it's impacting our cell membranes, which is and our cells and these basic building blocks of our body. That's really what's important, and that's what this congressional briefing, which you're talking about here, that's what that talked about. And we've got studies going back to the Second World War on this microwave radiation, because they realized when they were using the radar, the radar technicians were getting cataracts and they were having certain effects. And so there's been studies going on this for decades. And yet, again, here we are rolling out 5G.
How do EMFs impact our immune systems?
Yeah, so EMFs, that's really one of the areas in which, again, the science has really rather clear is in how it impacts the immune system. And there's been a number of studies on this, over 100 studies, which are detailing the many ways in which EMFs impact our immune system, impacting different aspects of our immune system, the white blood cells, the antibodies, the lymphocyte T helper cells, melatonin, how there's something like 20 odd studies just on melatonin. Melatonin is this hormone, which is very important for a number of reasons, which is secreted by primarily by our pineal gland, little P-shaped gland in the middle of our head. And we know that EMFs impede the production of melatonin, which, to put it very bluntly, just really upsets the apple cart, because melatonin is believed by many researchers to be this kind of master hormone. And it's all like, it's like a house of cards. You know, when you pull the melatonin card out, then the hormonal systems are upset, and then the autonomic nervous system's upset, and, you know, all our bodily systems are impacted. It's like a cascade effect. So there's many effects. And if you want more research on that, then the Bioinitiative report, which you mentioned earlier, has a whole section just on how the EMFs, these different EMFs, different frequencies of EMF impact our immune system in so many ways. And obviously this is, I think people, or I hope that people are beginning to realize today, with regard to the current health crisis, how important it is to have an immune system which is tip-top. And when we know that just that is the EMFs, that's to say, let's be clear, using a cell phone, using a Bluetooth device, being around Wi-Fi, being around any kind of anything electrical, being even around electrical wiring. Yeah, because the thing with electrical wiring is the EMFs don't stay on the wire. The EMFs permeate out into the room, magnetic fields, electric fields, dirty electricity. We'll get onto that in a little bit, or if we don't, then I will explain it if you don't ask me that. But this is, yeah, so these EMFs from all these different sources impact our immune system. And, you know, our governments are telling us to, you know, wear masks and get vaccinated and so on and so forth. Okay, but, you know, just some basic advice with regard to these EMF exposures. If we know that these EMF exposures are dysregulating our immune system, and, you know, it's actually swings both ways. It can up-regulate and it can down-regulate. It screws you up, to put it very bluntly. But when you know that, then obviously you'd be using your cell phone maybe different, or you wouldn't be using your cell phone or whatever, but you would actually be making a decision, an informed decision about that. So yeah, it's about this whole thing really is about making informed decisions. And I hope we're going to get onto solutions, because there are ways of dealing with this and reducing your exposure and living more, you know, in harmony with these frequencies.